Okay, here we go. 1999 Suzuki Marauder clutch replacement video. I've never done one of these YouTube videos before of this kind, so bear with me. I just want to show you something. This is the first clutch I'm putting in this bike. Take a look at the odometer. Okay, almost 95,000 miles. And it's time. The clutch is pretty worn out. Here's some of the things we're going to need for the job. All right, there's the bike. Underneath of it, you can see an oil pan, because we're going to be removing the oil from the bike. And even though this oil, only because I just changed it not too long ago, doesn't have much miles on it, we're going to throw it out and replace it with new just in case. Don't want to get it contaminated. Service manual sitting down here. They're available online. I certainly wouldn't want to endorse anybody using you know, an unscrupulous source of service manual acquisition, but this is one that I got online. Clutch plates. These are the friction plates. Now, the friction plates are not actually in the box, but this happens to be the EBC CK003377 friction plate set. They're a heavy-duty replacement for the original equivalent equipment set. The plates have been marinating in some 10W40 Valvoline dyno motorcycle oil. This stuff, in fact. They've been marinating there since about 5 o'clock last night. This is the oil we're talking about. And what else is going to be involved in this change? Well, I'm doing everything. I'm doing not just the friction plates, but here's my box of parts. Let me zoom out a little bit here. Okay. Mas importante, we need a new clutch cover gasket. This clutch cover needs to come off. This gasket needs to be replaced because they don't come off cleanly. When I had them off to change the bolts or the clutch springs several years ago, the gasket came off in pieces. I expect the same thing to happen again today. Alright, I had another set of Ferrotto clutch discs, which I'm not going to use because although the Ferrotto part manual matches the Marauder, the discs are a set of 5 and 2 rather than 6 and 1, and what I mean by that is the sizes. There should be 6 discs of one size and 5. The 6th is the 7th. I'm sorry, is slightly smaller. In the rest of this package, as you can see that I bought from Dennis Kirk, is 6 of the metal friction plates, a complete set of replacement clutch bolts, and these were ordered from Ron Ayers. These are the Vesra SK329 clutch spring replacements. Might as well replace everything. If you're going to take it apart, do the job one time, do it right. Let's see, what else have we got sprawled out here in the driveway? Camera tripod, because most of the time the camera's going to spin on the tripod. I'm not going to be touching it with my oily hands. Gloves, highly, highly recommended. Shop towels, paper towels, complete set of sockets, metric and American, because that's how I roll, and a complete toolbox. Let's see what's in here. You're going to see me reaching in and out of the frame during all of this. Another set of sockets, vice grip, crescent wrenches, metric combo open end and box wrenches, and all the various other tools that one uses to work on a motorcycle. Alright, so there's the other camera that's going to be taking a lot of the video of the bike, and without too much further ado, we're going to get started. So this is going to be a high-tech 2-camera shoot. I have no idea how it's going to come out, but hopefully it'll be useful for some of the MIG brethren out there to get a good look at what's going on. I'm going to start by getting the oil out. Hopefully this is going to work and be a useful video for everybody. I don't know how long my voice is going to last. I'll try and narrate everything I'm doing while we're doing it. Actually, I think before I get the oil out, I'm going to get the exhaust pipe out of the way, because why mess around with a full oil pan hanging under the bike? I'm taking the exhaust off. This is a stock set of exhaust headers, but it is a set of Cobra slip-on pipes. So these will take a little convincing to remove, and I have to remember all the bits and pieces. It's been a long time since I've had the exhaust off this. That's the only thing you need to do, is get the front exhaust pipe off. The front exhaust header. The muffler can actually stay in place. So hopefully everybody can still see. My fat body sitting here. All right, so first things we need is a socket to get these two header bolts off. You may want to consider replacing that header gasket. Sorry, you're going to hear the sound of me dragging tools around. But you may want to consider replacing that header gasket. That's a 10mm nut. Nope, it's 12. All right. That's on here pretty good. And you're going to see in the end of this, I'm going to be bringing out the torque wrench, because when I put bolts back on, I torque everything down to factory spec. Because there's a right way and a wrong way to do everything, and the right way is till it clicks, the correct spec. Of course, the jokers in the business will say they'll say that the correct torque for any fastener is 1/2 turn before it snaps. I have a basin here, an empty basin that I can use to throw parts into so they don't get scattered to the four winds. As long as it's obvious as to what part goes where, you don't need to mark anything. Some people are much more anal about that. I'm not going to get that socket in there, but we've got a 12mm open-end wrench, or a box wrench will get in there. Here we go. This is not the prettiest and cleanest motorcycle in the world. I've never been proud of the cleanliness of my bike. I like it clean, but I like it to run well. That's the important part to me. It has to run well. Okay. Bolts off. This collar can just slide back a little bit onto the pipe, and as you can see, the pipe's already starting to come loose. There's a joint back here behind this heat shield that will be taken off next. There's a couple of pipe clamps I have to loosen, or one pipe clamp I have to loosen. Take a screwdriver for that. Back into ye old toolbox for the screwdriver. Ball pan out the way there for a minute. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. A little hard to figure on the moving that around. Okay. Heat shield is loosened up a bit. And then there's a bolt underneath of here. It's going to need a deep well socket or one of these fancy cobalt sockets that I have here. These are their new, I don't know what they call them, extreme access bolts. You know, great for getting into tight spots with. I'm not quite sure what size that is. I mean, these are Cobras. They might actually be SAE. So let's take a look, see if a 10mm fits on here. Oh, that's not even close. Let's go to a 14. See what fits. Way too big. Try a 12. If it's not a 12, then it's probably a 7/16 or a half. That's a 12. Okay. So we're going to get the 12. We're going to get the special socket adapter off of here. A special ratchet for these. I'm going to loosen this clamp up a little bit. That's tightening. Make sure I'm in the lefty-loosey mode on the ratchet here. Might actually be able to get away without taking this pipe completely off, just bending it down and out of the way, but I think I'd rather have it off, totally out of the way. Of course, it's in there pretty tightly. Might have to actually take the bottom pipe off, bottom muffler. Let's get up under there. Clamp a little looser. This should separate for me. Oh, there it goes. Place it like that's what we're going to do. Time for the BFH. A little early for that yet in the process. There we go. Yeah. I don't need to take that bottom muffler off after all. Okay. One head pipe and a Cobra heat shield. Out goes away. If you're really particular about your chrome, which as you can see, really not so much, you can certainly take and put it on a towel or something along those lines. The only other thing I'm going to do, I think I'm going to take this frame cover off here because it kind of blocks access to the back of the clutch cover. Let's find that 9/16 inch socket. Put it away. Shortest inch next side. And we're going to go to 14. From here on out, everything else is pretty much going to be metric. Well, it might not be a 14. 13, interestingly enough. Yep, it is a 13. Okay. Pull that out of there. Okay, where's the bolt bin? Let me go get a hex head adapter. I'll be right back. Okay. Knock this bad boy out of here. We'll get that cover off. Or even just back out of the way a little bit. Doesn't need to come completely off because you might have to take the upper pipe off to get it. That's also the cover you get at to adjust your rear brake cable and brake light switch too. Yeah, that'll come off. You know, I don't know on the 97 and 98s where that's that cast aluminum cover, whether that'll come off with the upper pipe still in place or not. Pipe routing is different on the 97 98s. The 97 98 rear cylinder pipe comes down underneath the back of the bike, feeds actually the lower muffler, the upper muffler, but it comes up under here. And the front cylinder pipe comes down this way, way down low, and then comes up to the upper muffler like that. You don't actually, in the 97, 98, necessarily have to take the lower exhaust pipe off. All right, now before I start pulling, there's a bunch of bolts that hold this clutch cover on. Before I start pulling these, and we're going to follow the service manual instructions step by step on this. We're going to use the gasket. The gasket goes in, that's the correct position on this gasket when it's in place, right about like that. Right about like that's the correct positioning of the gasket while it's in place. What you got here comes with the gasket's a nice piece of cardboard. Nice piece of cardboard you can draw on. And take out my no biker should ever be without one Leatherman tool here. Just going to use the knife blade to open this package. That nice piece of cardboard is going to be a template for us to keep these bolts because they're all different lengths. Well, not all, but there's a bunch of different lengths anyway, and you want to keep them in the right places. So let's take this out. I got a pen, a template here. So we're going to take and draw a little mark where the gasket is, just so that I know I'm looking at the right holes. Gasket lines up. Looking at the right holes. Gasket lines up. We'll put this thing back together. Alright, so the side of the gasket you're looking at, boys and girls, is the outside of the bike. Again, it goes this way. I'm going to just trace the inside of it as well, because it's easy to do. Even an idiot like me can do it. Alright, one outline of a gasket with a bunch of places to show me where the bolts are. Now we're going to put the gasket aside with the parts in the box. Get the service manual over here. Clutch change is in a couple of places in the engine disassembly section of the manual, which is section 3, I believe. Yeah, engine section 3. I believe we start There's a section starting on page, let's see here. Let's get to section 3 in the manual first. There's a section that tells you all the different things you can do with the engine still in the bike. And the clutch change is one of them. So you can take a look at that and look at some of the engine removal instructions, although you won't need them. So things that can be done with the engine in place is on 3-1, and one of them says on the parts on the right side of the engine will be the clutch cover, the pressure plate, driven plates, and that's what we're going to be changing. We're not getting into the oil pump or any of that stuff, although that can also be done. Exhaust pipe and muffler, of course. So we're going to go to clutch cover removal. Page 3-17 is where it starts. And the first instruction is to remove the clutch cover bolts. But what they don't tell you before that is you're going to drop the oil out of the bike. We're going to take the oil out. Oil's I'm pretty sure it's a 14 millimeter nut. I made the bozo mistake of stripping the threads on my engine several years ago, so I use an oversized plug. I don't know if it's the same size or not. It might actually be closer to like 17 millimeters. We're going to switch out to a little shorter one. To facilitate quicker draining of the oil, and honestly, you probably don't have to drain every last drop of oil out of the motor. I just did an oil change on this bike, as I mentioned not too long ago, so I'm going to leave the filter. I should need less than 2 quarts, less than about 1800 cc's to refill the motor. But I'm going to pop this this bolt out of here now, and we'll drain the oil out. Drain out 2 quarts of brand new oil. Tighty lefty loosey. Take my word for it, do not over tighten these bolts. Put this back, I'm going to range it somewhere around 15-20 foot-pounds. That seems to work the best. I am going to use the same bolt over again. I'm going to put a rubber washer on it. This will be a good time for a glove change while we're doing this. Brand new clean golden oil coming out of there. Oh well. Here's where those paper towels come in handy. Time for a glove change. Working in the medical community, I go through a lot of glove changes. Alright, now once that oil's drained even halfway out, you can start pulling that clutch cover off. Because there's the bike leaning on the side stand, there's not a whole lot of spot for oil to lay up against the clutch cover, because you can see the sight glass is right here, and once you can't see that oil in the sight glass, it's going to be away from the clutch cover by the time you get all those bolts out. The only other thing you're going to need, by the by, the other tool I didn't think about bringing here to do this is the rubber mallet to tap the clutch cover loose once you're ready to take it out. Let's well, it's just about all drained. It's pretty. My pan was clean. I don't see a single sparkly in there of any kind of metal or anything like that. Like I said, that oil's got about 50 or 60 miles on it, maybe 100 at the outside. Maybe not even. But we'll put new. It's just my preference. All right. These clutch cover bolts, I'm going to actually use the smaller ratchet on, because they're tiny. I'm going to get out our little 1/4-inch drive ratchet here. Little 1/4-inch metric sockets. All of my metric socket 1/4-inch metrics are deep well. I think they're 7 millimeter. Those two bolts, yeah, 7 millimeter. And I might need a short extension, just to make my life easier. All right, and so it says remove the clutch cover bolts, and then remove the clutch cover by tapping. What they don't tell you about is the release pinion and all that kind of stuff. That's actually in the next step. In the bolts up here for the mount and the adjuster. I'm gonna take a little bit of a little nail polish with it. I'm gonna take and make some marks on things where the adjuster was sitting, just to give me a reference point when I go to put it back. That's one of the biggest issues I've seen people running into with changing these clutches, is not having a good reference. think I got a little of my daughter's nail polish in my pocket here. She won't mind if I borrow it to work on tonight. Here we go. We have Wild Shine. I don't know what color it is, but it's kind of pinkish. Yeah, you know what? Real men wear pink on their motorcycles too. I have to get the BFH to get the cap off of this, I think. There we go. Let's see here. Yeah, that'll work. I'll get a little dot across the top of it there. Just to mark. Just marking where the pinion sat on the ratchet. On the rack there, the release rack. So that I line it up more or less the same when I put it back together.